Welcome to Cat Facts Funny. Today's episode is a quiet one. Not because the subject is small, but because it has been misunderstood for a very long time. Black cats have carried more stories than most animals ever will. Stories of luck and misfortune, reverence and fear, devotion and neglect. But beneath all of that human projection, there is a living animal, one with a body shaped by genetics, behavior shaped by experience, and a presence that often speaks more softly than we expect. This is not a video about superstition. It's about biology, history, and the calm reality of who black cats actually are. Black is not a breed, it's a genetic signal. When we say black cat, we're not describing a breed. We're describing a genetic outcome, a visible signal written deep into a cat's DNA. The color black comes from a gene that controls the production of eumelanin, the dark pigment responsible for black and deep brown tones. When this gene is active, it doesn't negotiate with other colors. It dominates them. Even if a cat inherits instructions for tabby patterns or lighter shades, the black gene can quietly override those messages. This is why black cats appear across so many breeds. From sleek short-haired cats to long-haired, plush companions, the same genetic instruction can express itself again and again across entirely different lineages. Black is not rare. It is persistent. And persistence is often nature's way of saying something works. A coat that reflects the body within. At first glance, a black cat's coat looks uniform, but in reality, it's responsive, almost conversational. Many owners notice that black fur can shift in color over time. In strong sunlight, it may take on a reddish or rusty tone. This isn't damage or aging. It's chemistry. Ultraviolet light interacts with melanin, slowly altering its structure and changing how it reflects light. Diet also plays a role. Melanin production relies on amino acids like tyrosine. When nutrition is slightly off, the body adjusts, and the coat quietly tells the story. In this way, a black cat's fur becomes a subtle indicator of internal balance. Not dramatic, not obvious, but honest. Darkness and vision built for the low-light world. Black cats don't just disappear into the dark. They belong there. Like all cats, they are equipped with a reflective layer behind the retina called the tapetum lucidum. This structure amplifies available light, allowing cats to see in conditions where humans see almost nothing. But in black cats, the contrast between dark fur and bright eyes makes this adaptation especially striking. Their pupils widen into near-perfect circles. Their retinas are rich with rod cells designed for low-light detection. What we experience as darkness, they experience as detail. Movement, shape, intention, all visible, all registered quietly. This is not mystery. It's specialization. The immune question, what science is still learning. In recent years, researchers have noticed something intriguing. The same genetic pathways involved in coat color also intersect with systems related to immunity. Some studies suggest that mutations associated with black fur may be linked to increased resistance against certain diseases. This does not mean black cats are invincible, but it does suggest that their genetic profile may offer subtle advantages. Ones that helped the trait survive generation after generation. For centuries, black cats were persecuted, and yet the gene remained, not because of myth, but because biology favored survival. Memory, recognition, and emotional imprinting, black cats are often described as observant, quiet, watchful. This isn't shyness. Is processing. Cats, in general, have strong associative memory, but many black cat owners report something specific: long recognition, emotional recall, and selective attachment. Faces are remembered. Voices are cataloged. Emotional tone matters as much as action. A black cat may not rush to greet you, but they notice when you arrive. They remember how you treat them, and they respond accordingly. Trust for them is cumulative. The voice. When silence isn't the whole story, there is a stereotype that black cats are silent. In reality, many are deeply expressive, just selective. Some black cats develop complex vocal patterns. Chirps, trills, short conversational meows. These sounds are rarely random. They're used intentionally, often directed toward specific people. Rather than calling into the room, they speak to someone. And when they don't, silence itself becomes communication. Stillness is not absence. It's attention. Ancient reverence. When black cats were sacred long before fear entered the story, there was reverence. In ancient Egypt, cats were protectors of the home. Black cats, in particular, were associated with the goddess Batet, a symbol of protection, fertility, and balance. To harm a cat was unthinkable. To lose one was a family tragedy. They were not feared. They were trusted. This relationship was built on observation. Cats protected grain stores, controlled pests, and lived closely alongside humans. Their value was practical, and from that, spiritual meaning grew. It was respect, not superstition. When fear replaced understanding. Centuries later, that respect collapsed. During the Middle Ages in Europe, fear found a target. Disease spread, social order fractured, and anything misunderstood became suspicious. Black cats, with their silent movement and nocturnal habits, became symbols for anxieties people could not explain. A single papal decree in the 13th century cemented this shift. Black cats were associated with evil, accused of supernatural allegiance, and destroyed alongside the people who cared for them. It was not truth that changed. It was narrative. And once fear becomes tradition, it lasts far longer than reason. Survival despite persecution, and yet black cats endured. Despite centuries of eradication, the gene persisted. It passed quietly from parent to kitten, generation after generation. This resilience was not moral. It was biological. The trait survived because it did not weaken the animal. If anything, it accompanied adaptability, camouflage, and physiological strength. Nature did not agree with human judgment, and nature won. Survival is the most honest metric. The calm temperament many people notice. Ask shelter workers quietly, and many will tell you the same thing. Black cats are often calm, not dull, not passive, calm. They settle into spaces slowly. They observe before engaging. They conserve energy, choosing moments carefully. This doesn't mean they lack playfulness or affection. It means they express it deliberately. In a loud world, they remain steady. And for the right person, that steadiness becomes grounding. The adoption paradox, despite everything science and experience tell us, black cats remain the least adopted in many shelters. They photograph poorly. Their features disappear in flat lighting. Online listings fail to capture what is obvious in person: the gloss of the coat, the expressiveness of the eyes, the presence. Superstition still lingers, even when people don't consciously believe it. And the cost of that hesitation is real. Black cats wait longer, and waiting is dangerous. Seeing clearly requires slowing down. To understand a black cat, you have to pause. You have to notice how they choose a room, how they position themselves near but not always on the people they trust, how they watch before acting. They don't perform for attention. They offer companionship without demand. And that, for many people, is exactly what makes them extraordinary. Living with a black cat often changes how people interpret quiet. You start to recognize subtle signals: the slow blink from across the room, the shift in posture when you're anxious, the way they appear nearby without being summoned. Their affection doesn't announce itself. It arrives consistently. Once you learn to read that language, it's impossible to unsee. Not symbols, individuals. The greatest misunderstanding about black cats is the idea that they represent something. Luck, fear, mystery. They don't. They are individuals, shaped by genetics and experience, responding to the world with the tools evolution gave them. No more mystical than any other animal, and no less remarkable. The truth doesn't need embellishment. What their DNA really reveals when we strip away myth and projection, what remains is something simple. Black cats are not warnings. They are not omens. They are not symbols of anything beyond themselves. Their DNA reveals resilience, adaptability, and quiet strength, traits that allowed them to survive history, biology, and misunderstanding. And perhaps that is why they resonate so deeply with the people who truly see them. If you share your life with a black cat, you already know much of this. And if you don't, maybe this episode helped you see them a little more clearly. Thank you for spending this time with us. If you enjoy calm, thoughtful explorations of animal behavior and the quiet truths behind it, consider subscribing. More episodes like this are on the way. And if you'd like to share, what is one quiet habit your cat has that others might overlook? Sometimes the most meaningful stories aren't loud. They're just waiting to be noticed.